Joined now by Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. She chairs the committee that is responsible for oversight of the U.S. Capitol Police and federal elections. She has been on this topic for quite some time. Senator Klobuchar, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you, Chuck. It's great to be back on.
All right, let me just start with that. Look, you're the committee chair. You oversee the Capitol Police. Have you learned anything new about this investigation in the last 48 hours?
Well, I think your correspondents did a great job. I'll say this. This was a vicious attack meant for the Speaker, ends up hammering the Speaker's husband, and our prayers are with her and her husband, their kids, their grandkids. A vicious attack in which she has been villainized for years, and big surprise, it's gone viral and it went violent. And I think it's very important to note, as you mentioned, that Homeland Security warning, that this has been going on for years. The attacks on her and this group of MAGA extremists who, by the way, are putting up candidates on the ballot that Donald Trump supports, have been not ending when Donald Trump left office. They have been expanding into our politics. And many people have stayed silent during this time, not Liz Cheney, not Adam Kinzinger, within their own party. And I think it is really important that people realize that it is not just this moment of this horrific attack, but that we have seen violence perpetrated throughout our political system. People showing up at polling places, intimidating election officials. 1 in 6 local election officials have received threats of violence, doubling the number of threats against judges in just the last four-year period. And then you've got, as you noted, elected officials in Congress, 10 times the amount of threats in a 5-year period. This has to end. And there are several things we can do from the security standpoint, which I'm happy to share with you.
I was just going to say.
But it is also about making sure we don't add more election deniers into our political system.
I want to unpack this in a couple of ways. First, let's talk about security of the big four leaders. The Speaker, the Republican leader, the Majority Leader in the Senate, and the Republican leader in the Senate. They have protective details that follow their person. They do not have protective details that also extend to their house. Is that going to change given these threats now?
I think that should be strongly considered for the Supreme Court. After the threat on Judge Kavanaugh, the actual perpetrator going into his neighborhood, we actually did pass legislation that I strongly supported on a bipartisan basis to extend to their family. So that is one possibility. But as you know, just limiting it to the top 4 is one of the problems because threats are received against many members.
And that's the question. Look, you could figure out how to protect those that are in line, direct line to the presidency. But what about the other 531 members of Congress? What are they supposed to do? Can we afford to protect them all with our tax dollars?
There can be various levels of protection, Chuck. It doesn't have to be the kind of full-out protection you see for people who are in the line of succession to the presidency. But certainly there has to be a different level of threat that allow members to get protection. Maybe it's local police. Maybe it's more funding for the marshals. So that's part of it. Something to watch for immediately when we get back. I have a bipartisan amendment that will allow members to take their private information off of the internet. There is a similar provision that has been put forth for judges, and this is part of the National Defense Reauthorization Act. So I'm very hopeful that finally I'll be able to get the support to get this done. And again, it's bipartisan. So that's something to watch for. Elected officials, local elected officials. We should pass the bill that makes intimidation a crime, a federal crime, and we should extend it to counting the ballots and certifying elections. We had a hearing, Senator Blunt and I did, of a local Philadelphia Republican commissioner who talked about how when he was certifying the results in Philadelphia that Joe Biden had won, he had threats against his 3 kids, said if you don't say what we want, we're going to go and we're going to shoot those 3 kids, put their address out on the internet. That's happening all over the country to Democratic and Republican officials. So we also have to up what we do when it comes to protecting local election officials and certainly protect them in this next election.
So we got a de-escalation obviously challenge in front of us. There's one thing to get elected leaders to de-escalate, and then there's the issue of the social media companies that make money amplifying all of this. What's the bigger challenge? Getting Republican leaders to de-escalate, or figuring out how to get these tech companies to stop amplifying this garbage?
They're both humongous challenges. On the Republican side, it is making sure that whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, when you go cast your vote, you don't go vote for an election denier or the people that are coddling them. And you don't listen to Donald Trump, because he is the one that said to go wild and march down the mall. When it comes to the social media companies, I'm one of the people, as you know, that's been way out there on this, because I think that it is one thing if someone is posting stuff on the internet. It is another when they're making money amplifying it, and that is the difference. So I would reduce their immunity, their Section 230 immunity, it's called, and then that would allow people to go after them when they are making money off of amplifying election falsehoods, hate speech, you know it. And of course, there's been interest in both the Democratic and Republican side in making a change to that. And let me be clear. Number one is to go after this perpetrator who committed a violent crime. Number two is to change what we're doing to give more security to our elected officials, no matter what party they're in. Number three is to make sure we're not electing more election deniers who are following Donald Trump down this road. And then number four, yes, once we get some people in who care about our democracy, we have to do something about this amplification of this election denying hate speech that we see on the internet.
Now that Elon Musk runs Twitter, do you trust him?
No, I do not.
What's your biggest fear of him running this social media platform?
Well, I think you have to have some content moderation, because when you look at what this guy was looking at, he was looking at just horrendous things you don't even want to talk about on your show. He was posting anti-Semitic tropes. He was showing memes that showed violence and all of this election-denying pro-Trump MAGA crowd rhetoric. That's what we're dealing with here. And if Elon Musk has said now that he's going to start a content moderation board, that was one good sign, but I continue to be concerned about that. I just don't think people should be making money off of passing on this stuff that's a bunch of lies. You couldn't do that on your network, Chuck. You couldn't.
We have real rules.
You guys look at commercials and you decide if they are false or not. That is not a requirement of these companies, and we have to change the requirements on these companies. They are making money off of us. They are making money off of this violence.
There's no doubt the tech companies are a huge, huge problem in this, and they got to take some responsibility. Senator Klobuchar, Democrat from Minnesota, thank you for coming on and sharing your perspective.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.